JBM, I see you're waiting. How are you? Good morning from here. Let me go ahead and share this quickly uh, on our platforms. Today is my birthday, June 16th. I'm 47 years old today. All right. So this is a Q&A session, guys. This is brought to you by popular demand. Today, I'm going to take your questions around exports, business, investments. If you are in Nigeria right now, you're a business owner in Nigeria right now, and you're looking at market entry strategies in the United States, this session is for you. If you are a Nigerian in the diaspora, you're a Nigerian in the United States, Canada, UK, you're looking at investment opportunities in Nigeria, this session is for you. If you are just a foreigner and you are interested overall in doing business in Nigeria, traveling to Nigeria, operating in Nigeria, this session is for you. It's a live Q&A session. You are not going to get it any better than this. So wherever you're watching this from, my name is Rich Mbariket. I am the founder of Mbariket Ventures Limited, Mbariket.com. We are a business platform that specializes in US, Nigeria, US market entry strategies. We are manufacturers, exporters, entrepreneurs, self-funded. See, we don't have backing. We don't have investment backing and all this financial banking, institutional capital. We don't have that. Not saying that we're not going to get to a point where we're going to need it, but right now we don't. So we are 100% self-funded right now. So I'm here today to take 8 people I'm watching. I'm here today to take your questions. If you have any questions whatsoever about investment in Nigeria, exports, imports, buildings, post them in the comment section. And if you are currently exporting right now, let me know where you're exporting to and where you're exporting from. 14 of you are watching. Hey, like, share, and comment. This session is for you. When we tell you that we are here to provide value to Nigerians, we are here to make it accessible. We want to make Nigeria accessible to the world. If you have a product that you are selling, we want to help. Will IFC, what's up? Good morning from the US. I'm broadcasting from Las Vegas, Nevada. We want to make Nigerian products and Nigeria as a whole accessible to the world through our platforms. We have a WhatsApp group, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you can. You see, we are agnostic. We are platform agnostic. There's only so many platforms we can be on right now, but we are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, we are on WhatsApp. We also have our website, Mbariket.com. Interact with us on those platforms. Now, some of you have reached out to me about YouTube SEO. You want to know how you can help us better leverage YouTube. SEO, search engine optimization. Some of you have reached out to me about that service. Here's the thing, I've tried it before. In the past, I have hired an agency or a company to help me manage my YouTube channels, but it just didn't work. My YouTube channel, but it didn't work out. So I stopped doing it because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. You guys have to realize I was one of the pioneers of YouTube back in 2004 when I was in Los Angeles I was making commercials for small businesses, shooting music videos. I was helping small businesses set up their YouTube account. I was one of those pioneers of the YouTube platform. For 5 years, from 2008 to 2013, I wrote about social media every day for 5 years. I was averaging about 10 blog posts a day. That was all I did for 5 years. We wrote about YouTube. We wrote about LinkedIn. We wrote about, no, we didn't write about LinkedIn. We wrote about YouTube. We wrote about Facebook. I was a social media writer for 5 years. So I understand how that platform works. So for those who have been reaching out, we are 8,800 subscribers on YouTube, and we are doing it organically. We advertise here and there, but for the most part, and for those of you who are watching, trying to get into YouTube, the most important thing is your content. People are going to forgive your technicalities, but the most important thing is your content and what you're putting out into the world. Always try, when you're creating your content on these platforms, to teach, educate. Entertainment comes at the tail end, but if you can create content that teaches people and educates people, you'll be head and shoulders above your peers. So if you have any questions whatsoever, post them in the comment section before I dive into what I'm currently going to share with you guys right now. And then as questions come in, I'm going to address them. So we've talked about the YouTube SEO, guys. I really appreciate you guys reaching out, trying to offer services in that regard. But I feel that for us, when it's time for us to truly step foot on the accelerator of our social media platform, we are going to have to bring in a full-time employee for that. It is not something that a part-timer can do, because I have to sit there and understand our business, I understand the way that we put content out there, and understand SEO and being able to do hashtags and keywords, all of that. Every industry changes. Every industry sort of like differs. So just because you are successful creating YouTube content for, let's say, a business brand like ours, doesn't mean that you'll be successful creating for, let's say, an oil company. So every organization is different in their approach to social media, especially in their approach to like search engine optimization. So I just truly believe that when we are ready to make that leap and to make that move, the best fit is going to be someone that we can bring on full time that can do that for us. Okay, so let's talk about packaging. A question that I received was, what is my recommendation on packaging? Do I recommend packaging in jars? For those of you who are in the spices or dry goods space, jars or in pouches? I'm always going to recommend, as much as you can, to aim towards packaging your goods in pouches, because it's going to be a lot easier for you. And I'm talking exporting now. If you're doing it internally within Nigeria, you might be able to get away with packaging in a jar. But if you really want to maximize your bottom line, you want to increase your bottom line, you want to package and export in pouches. For example, if it takes you 500, let's say for every 500 jars that you transport, you can easily transport about 750 pouches. So when you are at a crossroads and it comes to the two packaging materials you want to use, always aim to package in pouches. But then again, it also depends on the kind of product that you are selling as well. Generally, you don't want to package anything liquid form in pouches. You want to stay away from that. Like for those of you who are selling like palm oil or body wash, those ones you want to package in bottles. And by bottles, you want to stay away from glass. You want to package in plastic, food grade, cosmetic grade bottles for those who are in the liquid space. Whether you're selling palm oil, you're selling granite oil. But for those who are exporting things like, let's say, flour, powdered form food products like crayfish or bono, gari, you want to package in pouches because it's just a lot easier for you. Like food grade pouches, for instance, I'll give you an example. Something like this. This is a nice little 1 pound food grade pouch. You can package your flour in there, you can package your gari in there. COJ. Is it better to process powderized products? Example, crayfish zobo, 100%. You want to, actually, the US customs, they actually encourage that. They encourage powdered products more than they do nuts. Let me tell you a story. There was a time that I tried, it's just like crayfish. I tried to bring in crayfish in whole form. This was like 3 years ago. Because it wasn't something that the US Customs and FDA were used to. That crayfish in whole form was flagged. FDA came to our facility to physically inspect whole crayfish. But when you are doing powdered, it's just so much easier. It's easier for you, it's easier for the shipper, it's also easier for the customer. Because powdered crayfish is already ready to go. All you have to do is get your tablespoon or your teaspoon, you scoop it inside, you put it inside your spoon, your soup. In my own case, I put crayfish in everything that I eat. When you start doing whole form, it becomes number one, harder for the customer to interact with. And anything that's like nuts, let's say seeds, is going to raise a little bit of a suspicion, especially with the US Customs and the FDA, because they're going to think, okay, if it's in a whole form and if it's in a seed form, are they bringing this thing into the United States to plant? They're always going to think that. They're going to scrutinize you. So that will automatically trigger an inspection. But if it's in powdered form, you don't have to worry about that. So in your case, always aim for powderize as much as you can. Stay away from nuts. I just had before I hopped on here, I had a mentorship session with one of our mentees. She's in the tiger nut space. We advise her against tiger nut in whole form. Instead, do tiger nut powder. Because the thing is, for instance, if you bring in tiger nut in whole form, you have to wash it, you have to soak it, you have to chew it, you have to digest it. There's just so much you have to do just to be able to consume that product. But if you bring in tiger nut in powdered form, it's easy for the consumer to be able to mix it with their, let's say, their milkshake or their protein shake. For someone like me, I'm in fitness. I want something a little bit sweet that I can add into my protein shake because it's already in powdered form. I just have to take a teaspoon or a tablespoon, mix it inside my protein shake, blend it, consume it, and go about my business. It's also a lot easier to store. And also, things that are in powdered form, they have a longer shelf life than things that are in nut form or whole form. So you always have to think of that shelf life aspect as well. The longer your product is, shelf life wise, the better for you. So if you can avoid, like for instance, I know granules, peanuts, that's a different story. Roasted granules, very difficult to powderize. Roasted cashew nuts, very difficult to powderize. Those ones are generally consumed easily as the snack in whole form. But everything else, this zobo that you are talking about, we used to import this zobo in Zobo in powder form, although it did not take off for us, so we discontinued it. Too much fat. Which one is too much fat? You mean in nut form? I don't think fat has anything to do with the form that is in. But you also got to think of your consumer. Majority of you that's exporting from Nigeria into the US, you are exporting what is called DTC, meaning direct to consumer. You are, yes, DTC, direct to consumer. You are selling directly to the consumer, to the end user. You are not selling, let's say, to a distributor or wholesaler. So make it as easy as possible for the consumer to be able to order and use your product. Is the peanut and cashew, if you powder it, it stays a bit soft. That is the thing. I don't listen. Is there such a thing as powdered peanuts? The only sort of like blended peanuts that I know is peanut butter. It's very hard for you to get peanuts and cashew nuts in loose powdered form without mixing it with something. So as far as like cashew nuts and peanuts goes, those ones can come in whole form. That's fine. So long as they are grounded, they are processed already. Powdered peanut, but most of it fat has been removed. Okay, you're gonna have to send me a link or something to it. Because the powderized peanut that I know is peanut butter. That's it. That's the powderized peanut that I know. I don't generally consume uh, peanuts in powdered form. I personally like it. One is PB2. I definitely have to check that one out. So, guys, another thing is brand identity. How important is brand identity? Your name is all you have. The more consistent your brand is, the easier it is for it to be recognized in the marketplace. If you are constantly changing your colors, you are constantly changing your packaging, you are constantly changing your messaging, not only are you confusing yourself, you're also confusing your target customers. So you have to aim for a brand identity that is consistent across the board. Your color tone has to be the same across the board. We used to have when I started branding our hats, it was black. I have black and I also have like this red one. I've been wearing the red one more. It's not like I don't have the black Mbariket hat. I still have it. But I want people to associate Mbariket with this color, red and white. That's why I wear it more. You can see this is the black one. What's I'm talking about? This one is old. I don't wear them dye. So I generally don't wear this as much as I do, especially in the videos. I want to keep everything consistent because I want you to associate me with the guy with the red and white Mbariket hat. You look at our packaging too. Very, very simple. Very, very, very simple. So you want to, when it comes to the narrative and the business of your branding, you want to try and be consistent at all costs. Stay away from multiple variations of your logo. Stay away from that. If you have one solid logo, drive that same logo for at least 10 years. That's what majority of these brands out here do. They don't change logos. There are some brands that have had the same logo for 3 decades. They hardly ever change it. And when they do change it, they may ride that new change for another, let's say, 30 to 40 years. So you want to keep your logo consistent. You want to keep your messaging consistent. You want to keep your visual identity consistent. Every time that you change it, you confuse people because they're not going to be able to tie your brand to a certain color or to a certain logo or to a certain feel or to a certain brand promise. So that is why it's best for you to also simplify. And that's one of the things. Simplicity is one of the hardest things to do in business. If you think about it, the simplest brands out there, when you look at like the Coca-Colas of the world, they have a very simple logo. Coca-Cola's logo is simple. Facebook logo is simple. X logo is simple. Microsoft logo is simple. How do we test and export markets to know if it will be successful? You just have to enter it. But here's the thing. You have to identify, number one, which markets you want to enter. Some of you are trying to enter way too many markets way too soon. So you have the Canadian market, you have the United States market, you have the European market, you may even have like the South Asian market. My recommendation is start with the US market first, because that's the largest market in the world. Start with the US market first. If you can be successful in the United States market, you can then branch out to other markets like Canada. Like for us, we are in a situation where I can literally take Mbariket, our company, our brand, to the globe, to the global marketplace easily. But we are choosing to remain in the United States market because number one is the market that we know. And number two, the United States market is the largest market on the face of the earth in terms of buying capacity. $7 trillion a month in international trade, both in import and export, spent by the United States government. $7 trillion in 30 days. And it's split evenly. 3.5 trillion goes to imports, 3.5 trillion dollars goes to exports. Why would I want to be in any other market other than the United States market? So the way for you, CG, if you have a product, I don't know about your situation, but if you have a product you want to test, you might want to look at our program. We are looking into like supporting or bringing in a couple of independent brands in the United States. Tony's brand is one of them. Chioma's brand is another one. You can message me, DM me at some time, and I can share more about the program with you. If you don't already know, I advertise it quite frequently on our platform. But yeah, and the thing about it is, guys, success is also relative. Don't think because you are in the US market, you are going to be successful. If your product does not translate to the US audience, it's going to be hard for you to be successful in that space. And that is why I keep telling you guys, find something that translates, that's universal. Crayfish is universal because crayfish is a seasoning. It's a seafood seasoning. So Nigerians in the US can consume crayfish as a seafood seasoning, and Americans in the US can also consume crayfish. Ogbono is limited. Ogbono is only limited to Nigerians and maybe sub-Saharan African demographic. The United States audience, like US customers, can't really relate with ogbono, but they can relate with crayfish. They can relate with tiger nuts. Because people who are in fitness, like I am, we will use that tiger nut powder, we will blend it with our protein shake, we'll eat it. So anything that's localized, you may use it to support something that is more universal. But you don't want a local Nigerian product to be your primary. It has to be secondary. You don't want that to be your primary because it's very difficult to scale. Let me tell you another product that we have right now. We are getting ready to package our suya spice. You see, suya spice translates to the US audience because we can position our suya spice here as barbecue rub. So you automatically appeal to consumers in the meat, chicken, and fish space, which is a very huge demographic in the United States. So we are repositioning our suya spice, Mbariket Nigerian suya spice, that we imported from Maiduguri, Borno State. It should go live on Amazon in the next week or so, and I'll share that with you. We are repositioning our suya spice as barbecue rub here in the United States. Why do you think your Zobo didn't work? I honestly don't know. We tried everything. We took it to the farmers market. It just did not translate. People just didn't want it. So, guys, that is another thing too, is before you find that hero product of yours, you're going to have to test quite a handful of products. And that is why we are so proud of what we're doing in this space, because we are able to teach you our experiences so you guys can avoid and not make the same mistakes that we made. So Zobo, and that's a hibiscus, right? Just did not translate for us. Is it something that we might be interested in down the line? Maybe. But we are at a space right now in our business where we only want to focus on things that are winning. Let me tell you another thing that didn't work for us right now. We are discontinued salt. We brought in salt from we brought in Nigerian salt from the north, Maiduguri. Salt just did not translate for us. Is it a universal product? Of course it is. But here's the thing: salt is also highly saturated, is oversaturated in the US market. Everybody is a salt seller. So even if your salt is from Nigeria or is from Africa, you are competing with salt platforms like the Himalayan salt. It just did not work for us. We are almost sold out of our salt, Mbariket salt here. Once that is done, we are discontinuing salt altogether. I'm still going to bring them in though for like my personal consumption, but it's not something that we want to sell again on a commercial level. You know what worked for us? Pepper worked. Red pepper worked better than black pepper. We are selling black pepper right now, but it's also discontinued because of the saturation of black pepper in the US market. But for us, our number one selling product is crayfish. We are doubling down on crayfish like tomorrow no go come. I saw packaged jollof sauce in the grocery store in Canada. Jollof has the potential. If you reposition jollof spice well, it would translate to both the Nigerian demographic, the African demographic, and also the United States demographic that are looking for that ethnic spice that they can put in their rice. So jollof rice has good potential to succeeding in the United States. How soon do you determine that it's not working? That is a very good question. Let me tell you, I would say within 6 months. But the interesting thing, guys, is, let me tell you another story. Gary, for a while, Gary did not work for us. We almost gave up. We almost gave up on Gary. And then all of a sudden, we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. It took off. After Gary had been dormant, you see, our own Gary had this thing that I'm holding. So, this is American Gary. Peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys in sales. Now it's peaking in sales. it may come down again and go back up. It's one of the weirdest products that we are selling right now because we just can't quite understand what's going on. Literally up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Over the past 3 years, we've been selling. But you know, another thing now that we are doing to help with this is we are pairing our Gary now with our turning stick. That's another thing that's helping us with our sales. But Gary is something that we are at a crossroads with Mbariket Gary at this point. Because this Gary that you are seeing soon is hand fried on record in Ikorodu, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, where I'm from. 90% of the Gary sold in Nigeria is mechanized. And when you are eating those mechanized Gary, it tastes like powder. This one is crunchy, well dried, well fried by hand over fire. So that is the issue we are having now is once we sell out, and we are literally close to selling out of this one, where am I going to get? That means I have to activate another manufacturing team in the village to help me create this quality that we are known for. We sell them for $12 an ounce. When others are selling Gary, 4-pound Gary for $20, we are selling 1 pound for $12. And there's been no pushback on our price. So generally, a product, you want to give it at least 6 months. But as a brand maker and as a brand owner, it's like giving away your child. You're going to have to make that tough decision when something is just not working out. It's part of your responsibility as a founder, CEO, business person. It's okay for you to kill anything that's not working. Pull the plug. I know the stress that I went through to import salt, import Zobo. We even imported this flour, beans, not beans. I forget the name of the product. What did we not import? Because I wanted everything to work. And Kate and I just sat down and said, you know what, babe, this one is not working. This one is... So we made a list of, okay, what are our top selling products? The ones that did not work were the most difficult ones to give up because I truly, truly believe we could make it work. We just couldn't do it. The market is going to tell you. The market is going to either accept what you are selling or reject what you are selling. And no matter what you are doing, you can pray from today till if the market said they are not interested in your product, they are not interested. Soybean, my guy, thank you very much. We brought in soybean powder. After much research, we brought in soybean powder. It did not work for us. We had to give it up. And I know how much we spent to import these test items. Zobo didn't work. Salt didn't work. Black pepper didn't work. Soybean didn't work. Turmeric didn't work. Ginger didn't work. If I begin giving at the list of wetin I don export from Nigeria come America, we don't work. Kettle didn't work. Shoes, fashion didn't work. But crayfish worked. Look, fashion. I'm talking about shirts, pants, hats. One of the most profitable, the best margins. We sold. But guess what? there were also a lot of returns because somebody will buy a hat and say, this one no fits me. Then go return them. They will buy a shirt. I like the shirt, so I like the quality, but you no fit. They will return. Fashion has one of the highest return rates of any category you can enter. Fashion. So we ended up saying, okay, the margins are there, the money is there, but the headache is also there. So we had to make a decision. Which one better pass? Money and be peace of mind. Now we choose peace of mind, though. Because I was stressed every time somebody ordered a hat, every time somebody ordered a shirt. It was, oh my God, 75% of the time they will return it because it just did not fit. That is why we left the fashion industry or the fashion category. And now we are just doing consumables, food consumables. And here's the thing about a consumable product like crayfish. People are going to buy them over and over and over and over and over again. They will subscribe to your crayfish and buy. They will, every two months, they will replenish, depending on their usage. Every 3 months, some people even monthly. Crayfish is the gift that keeps on giving for us. Crayfish. This crayfish one, I look at, say, this one doesn't. It's the product that keeps on giving. Because we have tried everything out there. But here's the thing, guys. Because it didn't work for me or for us, doesn't mean it won't work for you. And that is why I always encourage you guys. Pick one product that you absolutely enjoy and stick with that product. Whether it's exporting or whether it's selling it locally in Nigeria, pick one product that you absolutely enjoy that you can stick with. And it doesn't matter if that product is profitable for you, but with profit comes stress and headache. You might want to consider giving it up. If you are watching this for the first time, my name is Rich Mbariket, founder of Mbariket Ventures, Mbariket.com. Like, share, and comment. Post your questions. This Q&A that I'm doing, you guys should be paying me a lot of money for this, but I'm giving it to you guys. I'm giving you guys game. If you want one-on-one mentorship, Mbariket.com/mentorship, 15,000 naira per month. It will change your life. The way you do business, it will change your life. In my mentorship program, I will work with you one-on-one on everything that you need to be successful. Is there any product that you have no returns in your policy? Food products are generally no returns, especially on platforms like Amazon. You can't return food. You can exchange it, but you can't return it for a refund. You can't. And you can only exchange it if you can prove that it was damaged in transit. Because unlike fashion, you can't say, I received the product and it didn't fit. Once food, and that is why we like food consumables, because it is generally it's a non-refundable product. Hey guys, like, share, and comment. So returns are practically non-existent when it comes to food. But if a customer doesn't like it for one reason or another, you can exchange it. But here's the thing, the profit margin is so good, especially in products like crayfish, that you can absorb this little. You might get maybe 1.1 or 0.2% return rate or something. Because of your profit margin, you can absorb those returns. But fashion, shoes, hats, unless you are a fashionista, is not something that I will recommend. Unless you are a fashionista. And another thing about fashion is, you know, if you just go buy them for market, won't begin sell. You gotta be the one that goes out there. You source the material, you buy the thread, you buy the buttons, you contract a tailor that knows what they are doing, you give them the size dimensions, and you supervise the development and the manufacturing of that fashion brand to ensure that the sizes are consistent across all board. That is the only way that I can see fashion working. And here's another thing too. If you want to make fashion work for you, because we didn't have that kind of a patience. Fashion is good if you are there in Nigeria supervising the manufacturing. If you are abroad trying to import Nigeria fashion, problem D. And another thing is, sew the sizes a little bit bigger. So if you are selling a medium-sized shirt, sew them in large form. You can still manufacture, you can still market them as medium, but with the clause that says medium runs big. Runs big. Because now the buyer can say, okay, I like it. Although it runs a little bit big for me, I can take it to a tailor and get it tailored to my body. That's the only way you can make Nigeria fashion work is, you have small, you have medium, and you have large, you have extra large. If you are selling large, sew them extra large, but still market them as large, but they run big. So the buyer already knows in their mind that there's a chance that this might be a little bit bigger than I want. And if so, if they love it, they can take it in and get it tailored down to their size. But if you're in the Nigerian fashion business and you are selling a large shirt and you are still marketing it as a large shirt, then we return them. Then we return them. We were getting returns. In short, give me a second. Let me show you some samples. So look at this. You see these 3 hats? We made these. That's the red one. This is the blue one. This is the black one. We sold a lot of this, but we also had a lot of returns. Because I was in the US trying to run manufacturing in Nigeria to a hat maker that didn't know the difference between medium and large. You will give them dimensions. They will not create it to the dimensions of your choosing. That is why, if you are in the fashion space in Nigeria, African fashion, you want to be on ground in Nigeria to supervise the manufacturing of that product. Otherwise, you're going to face issues. We sold quite a bit of this. Now I just have it on display because some of our stuff, especially our fashion stuff that I've discontinued, I still keep 1 or 2 samples just to kind of look at it occasionally and say, okay, well, we touched this before. But yeah, we were making this in Uyo Akwa State. I was sourcing the material from Aba and manufacturing in Uyo Akwa State. But the hat maker just didn't understand international quality manufacturing. And you see, in America, they always say, when the sheet is bigger than the cat, you get rid of the cat. I'm not even going to repeat it because it's a little bit crazy. Can we discuss shipping? What if DHL is so expensive, especially for heavy items? Bro, logistics. You think returns is a headache. Logistics is your biggest issue in Nigeria. But here's the thing about DHL. I just paid 1.2 million naira not too long ago to ship express from Nigeria to the United States. 1.16. But here's the thing, I will get it in 5 to 7 days. Are there cheaper alternatives out there like the Delta cargoes and the by the way, guys, Virgin does not ship food stuff. Virgin they only ship non-food for non-food. But here's the thing, guys. Yes, Delta right now is let me do the math. Is expensive. Like you look at Delta, you look at companies like UPS. So let's say 116,500 divided by 76. Okay, right. So right now it's about 16,000 naira per kg to ship via Delta and UPS. 16,000 naira per kg right now. But you have to remember too that the rates are dynamic rates. Today's rates may not be tomorrow's rates. It may be higher or it may be lower. But here's one thing a company like Delta and UPS can guarantee you. They can lock your rate for at least 1 week. So don't look at it from an expensive point of view. And no, the way doing business in Nigeria is different from doing business in America because here we get to write off our business expenses. And advertising is a business expense. So at the end of every year, when we are filing our business taxes, you can write off advertising, you can write off employee wages, you can write off your cost of goods, you can write off the space that you're operating your business from. Anything that is an expense, your business expense here in the United States, you can write them off. So you don't pay taxes on them. That's the beauty of doing business in America. I don't know about Nigeria. So that 1.2 million that I paid, guys, 1.2 million I paid 2 days ago. Sorry, today on Monday. Friday, and I paid that money. 1.2 million that I paid. Guess what? Because America is such a beautiful place to do business, I get to write it off at the end of the year. I get to write it off at the end of the year. I don't know about Nigeria. How you guys do it there? So here in America, it's the best place to do business. Bar none. The best place to do business is the US of A because you get to my truck where they drive. I write them off. Let me tell you, I just turned 47 today. I want to give myself on my 50th birthday the kind of car where I go buy. Guess who go fund that car? Na Mbariket Ventures they pay for am. And guess what's in the Apple? I go write them off. You know what's in my head right now? Now the Cadillac Escalade, presidential blacked out Cadillac Escalade. Now I won't buy for myself my 50th birthday. I will keep one for America, sell one come Nigeria. Now Mbariket Ventures go pay for them, and I get to write it off at the end of the year as a business expense. You see how environment helps with business? Any experience with selling to Chinese market, no try. They say Chinese. are mostly, actually, let me answer the first one, then I'll answer this one. Good evening, JDM. Let me answer the other question. Sorry, about the heavy items. So the thing about DHL or the UPSCs of the world of Nigeria is the heavier your item is, they tend to give you a better rate. So while I just paid 15,000 naira per kg for a 76 kg product, had that item been 100 kg, I'm sure my rate would have been lower. So don't look at it from a weight standpoint. Look at it from an expedited standpoint. Because let me tell you right now, when you go DHL, when you go Delta Cargo or you go Virgin, those guys now 6 weeks it will take for you to get your goods. 6 weeks. But DHL and UPS, 5 to 7 days, you don't get your products. For those who are in America importing, and for you guys that are in Nigeria selling to our abroad clients, give them that option. You see, people abroad don't always think the way you guys think in Nigeria, where you always think everything has to be cheap, 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 cheap. We will pay more for your service if it's good. If I know that I'm going to get my goods in 5 to 7 days, I'm going to pay more as opposed to me waiting six weeks to 2 months. So give your clients the option of choice. Let them make a decision on what they want. Okay, back to this question of selling to Chinese markets. You gotta remember, China is mostly an output country, meaning they are known for exports. They want to create and export. The only thing that China will buy from Nigeria, raw materials and our mineral resources. That's the only thing Chinese will buy from Nigeria. A factory in China that manufactures windshields, they need sand. Nigeria has one of the largest deposits of silica sand in the world. And silica sand is the primary component of glass manufacturing. Silica sand is the primary component of windshield manufacturing that you see in vehicles, that you see in airplanes. That silica sand is the main component in the manufacturing of building glasses that you see in buildings and offices. China will buy that natural mineral from Nigeria. Chinese will buy raw materials from Nigeria. You are not going to see the Chinese people buying ready-made Nigerian goods. You are not going to see. Listen, ready-made Nigerian goods, you can abroad in the US, we can buy it. But the Chinese, because they are a manufacturing powerhouse, look what's happening in Nigeria right now. Are they not taking over all the natural resources? All the quarries in Nigeria, who do you think runs them? It's the Chinese. Granite that they use to make buildings, the Chinese. Rods, Chinese. Tiles, Chinese. They are there for the natural resources. That is what they're going to buy from Nigeria. They're not going to buy finished, ready-made product. You don't have to make this hard for Nigeria and say you want to sell them to China. They're not going to buy them. Nigeria is richly blessed. Of course they are. But the thing is, we just don't have the manufacturing infrastructure to turn those natural resources into finished products. What do you think does? The Chinese have it. Why do you think that they are opening up factories left and right in Nigeria? They are bringing their factory, their machinery, their manufacturing expertise into Nigeria, closer to the resources. Let me tell you something. You take your manufacturing capabilities closer to the resources. So instead of China importing raw materials from Nigeria across the ocean to China, guess what? China is doing they are reverse engineering this thing. You know what they are doing? They are now bringing their machineries closer to the resources so they don't have to export the raw materials. Now, water and watermelon are the drink. So, as far as the export market goes, you can't sell, what do they say? You can't sell ice to an Eskimo. You can't. You cannot export products, ready-made products, to a country or nation that specializes in exportation of ready-made products. Does that make sense? But they are going to take your raw materials and they are going to buy it for relatively cheap. It's like what they do out here when these raw materials, they will, for instance, chocolate. Nigeria will export cocoa to the US. US will turn the cocoa to chocolate. US will turn the cocoa to chocolate. Nigeria will buy Nigeria will buy the chocolate in chocolate form. Why are we not manufacturing chocolate there in Nigeria? This is what these countries do because they have all of the infrastructure in place to be able to turn raw, unrefined mineral resources, raw, unrefined natural products into refined and packaged finished goods for the end user. Nigeria will get a raw deal all time now, unless we change and start. Listen, I did a video the other day about why isn't Nigeria a manufacturing powerhouse? We have the land, we have the workforce. Majority of the Nigerian population are under 25 years old, between 18 and 25. So we have that workforce, we have the climate, we don't have any natural disasters. But yet, the information is there all along. But yet, we still struggle to take a raw product and manufacture it into refined finished goods. 100 years ago, Nigeria was only 19 million. 100 years later, 250 million people in Nigeria right now. And it's growing every day. The population of Nigeria is rising every day, every year. When has Nigeria's population ever decreased? And my question is, where are these people coming from? The answer to that is the way America is to the Western world is the way Nigeria is to the African continent. Nigeria is the land of opportunity in sub-Saharan Africa. Contrary to what most people will think. Why are they not going to Ghana? Why is the Nigerian population 6 or 7 times the population of Ghana? Why isn't the population of Ghana or neighboring countries like Burkina Faso and Togo, why isn't their population growing as fast as Nigeria's population? Because Nigeria is the place to be in sub-Saharan Africa. Every African person that has an opportunity within Africa there, they are going to end up in Nigeria. That is why you see our population continues to rise. And a high percentage, 25 and under, 18 to 25, tops 18 to 34. Poor leadership. I don't know if it's really poor leadership. Honestly, I don't really know if you can tie the way Nigeria is to poor leadership. I can probably say it's maybe a lack of exposure. I think every elected official or every leader in Nigeria, in my own personal opinion, should have lived abroad or should have spent a significant time abroad to see the way systems work before they are appointed into a position of authority. They need to have lived abroad, studied abroad, spent a significant amount of time abroad. I think that should be a prerequisite. Lived and worked abroad. So you can understand that the abroad standards is not the same as Niger standards. Nigerian worker go show up for 12 o'clock for noon, work 4 hours, go home. If you try them for America, that's the thing is Nigeria, for instance, the maintenance culture. Nigeria does not have a maintenance culture. They will build something, they will watch that thing dilapidate to the point of no repair. And then everybody will start running and screaming. This one don't spoil. That's it. But when that thing started decaying, why wasn't it fixed? We have a major maintenance problem in Nigeria. Major. So yes, poor leadership is not it. I just think it's just the lack of exposure thereof of elected officials. Majority of these guys that are running governments and this and that, they've never been in leadership positions. They've never ran companies. You see a situation, they will take a banker and then they will make him the minister of petroleum. What does a banker know about petroleum? Or they will take an accountant and make that accountant, just give an example here. They will take an accountant and make an accountant the minister of technology. If such a thing exists. And this is one of the issues now. When you look at like the aviation sector in the US, one of the biggest mistakes that Boeing made was when they stopped having engineers lead the company. That was when Boeing, the aviation, started going down. Because instead of having an aviation engineer lead a company, they brought in an accountant to lead an engineering company. So guys, ask your question. I'm going to take a couple of more before I go because I only wanted to spend an hour. We are at 64 minutes right now. So if I have informed you, taught you a thing or two in the past 60 minutes that you've been with me, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the content, like. Thank you, CJ O, for participation. I want to do a production, but I need capital. Listen, yes, you're going to need capital. If you think you can succeed in business, let me look at you straight in your eyes. If you think you can succeed in business just out of your savings account, you will be gravely disappointed. At some point, you are going to need institutional capital to grow. Mbariket, we want to become a $100 million company in the next 10 years. That's our goal. But we are going to need institutional capital to get there. There's only so much out-of-pocket funding that's going to get me there. But here's the thing too. For you to get institutional capital, for those of you who don't know what that means, it can come in the form of a bank loan. It can come in the form of investment, investor seed funding. But you have to have the track record as a business owner to be able to attract institutional capital. Most of you don't have that track record. Most of you don't know how to become business people. In order for you to gain institutional capital of in the millions of dollars, they are going to come in and audit your business. They are going to audit your supply chain. They are going to look at the way you run your business. They are going to look at the way you treat your employees. They are going to look at the relationship that you have with your customers. If you think getting capital is just going to happen because you say so, you are in the wrong line of work. They are going to look at your books. They are going to look at the revenue you've had over the past 5 years. They're going to look at your profit and loss statement. That is how banks operate. In order for you to get that capital, that's how banks work. You're not just going to walk into Andobale and start asking for capital. It does not work that way. Do you have all of these things in place? For those who are looking for investors, think about it too. There's also good institutional capital and there's bad institutional capital. Are you aware of that? Because not all money is good money. Not all investment is good investment. So before you are sitting there talking about you want an investor, are you sure? Because an investor that does not align with your goals can crush you and take your business from you. Do you know that with investments also come giving up power? Are you ready to give up power of your company? Do you know that you can be voted out? These are all things that you need to listen. If business were easy, more people will be doing it, but it's not. If you were going into the small, mid-scale agri-processing, what product would you choose? That's a very good question. Right now, I'll probably maybe plantain flour. I will do plantain flour. I will do tiger nut powder. I will do crayfish. I will actually even do gari. But gari is a very delicate thing to manufacture. You have to do it right in the sense that you don't want mechanized gari. You want gari that's authentically hand fried over fire, and that takes human labor. So let me tell you, if I were to start over today, because I wasted thousands of dollars experimenting. Knowing what I know now, I will do crayfish. I will do plantain flour. I will do tiger nut powder. I will do what else? I think that's it. Those are the 3 items I'll do. Crayfish, plantain flour, tiger nut powder. Oh, snacks. I will do chips. I'll do chin chin. Chili pepper has potential, but it's oversaturated. Chili pepper, careful, be careful. Potential, but oversaturated because everybody and their mother sells chili pepper here in the US. Vegetable leaves. I will do afang, which is what we are doing right now. I will do bitter leaf, dry bitter leaf. Afang in the US, you can market afang as wild spinach. Okazi. You can market it as wild spinach. You see, not only are you targeting the Nigerian demographic, you're also targeting the American demographic. So afang can legally be marketed as wild spinach in the US. Chili pepper, if you can't avoid that, because it's oversaturated. And here's another thing too. You want something that you can scale fast. Because it's going to take something like chili pepper to gain ground. We've been selling crayfish now for 4.5, 5 years. Crayfish sales has been consistent from day one from Mbariket. But because it works for me, doesn't mean it will work for you. Because we have a process behind, there's a strategy behind how we are selling our crayfish, the story behind it. How do you decide what to sell on Amazon versus your website? You see, Amazon is the largest e-commerce. So here's what we do. We have 3 distribution platforms. We have Mbariket.com/shop. We have our Amazon store, and then we have Walmart, our Walmart marketplace. Those are the only 3 distribution platforms that we sell. So wherever, and all of those items are on all 3 different platforms. So Mbariket is on Amazon, Mbariket crayfish is on Walmart. It's also on our website. But as of right now, for the past 5 years, our website, we just started it 2 months ago. Amazon has been our #1 platform for, well, I've been selling on e-commerce now for 10 years, but Nigerian goods for 5. Amazon has been the #1 platform. We make more money on Amazon than any other platform. Walmart, we just recently launched 2 months ago. So we are building equity on Walmart. But if you list your item on one platform, you may as well list it on the other 2. Don't do more than 3 platforms. Eventually, we want our primary platform to be Mbariket.com/shop, and then Walmart and Amazon just supports Mbariket.com. But yeah, every brand right now that is not, if you are not on Walmart, you are leaving money on the table. So that answers your question. Guys, it's 73 minutes. Thank you so much for your time. I really, truly appreciate this. Next week, we're going to come back with another Q&A session for you. So be sure to like, share, and comment. And CJ, thank you so much for participating on this. I'll talk to you guys later. My name is Richard Mbariket, founder of Mbariket.com. You are so welcome, brother. You're welcome. Hey, be sure to like, share, and comment. Get this video out to as many people as you can, okay? All right, guys. I got to run. Talk to you guys later. All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you, CJ's sister. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for participating. I'll catch you later, okay? All right. Bye-bye.